Welcome to another episode of The Vault. I am Steve Zetro Souza. This is Mr. Walter Morgan. Like I said before, I'm going to tell a bunch of old road stories, and it's a great thing that I have Walt here with me because Walt experienced a lot of them with me. We're going to tell one today from Pleasures of the Flesh tour, right, Walt?
Yes, but actually it's more Fabulous Disaster.
This was from then?
No, it was a fabulous disaster.
Oh, I didn't get the metaphor. Wow. Well, I guess so. We've got a comedian as well as a historic guest on here. Always. All right, Walt. Yeah. This one was a fabulous disaster. I guess I can concur with that. This was on the Pleasures of the Flesh run when we were out with Celtic Frost and Anthrax. And actually, you tell it pretty good, Walt. Go ahead and tell them what happened that day, or actually the day before building up to it, because
I remember that.
I rode with you. I got off the bus, and I was going to be that cool band member that said, you know what? I'm going to get in the truck.
I know who does that. What band member is going to get
ride
in the equipment truck
with the equipment guy and just feel what the real road's like, and we're going to go get coffee at the Jaybirds and all that shit, and I was all excited for it.
The whole thing is that I had a blowout in that city, and I had to, get the tire fixed. So Zetro decided, hey, hotel room for the night instead of the bunk, and we're going to spend the night and then meet up with them later. And we just happened to pull into Kearney, which is outside of Kansas City, and Zetro and I got a room, and everything was nondescript. We had a good dinner, and then the next morning we got up at nice and early. I had a cup of coffee in my hand, and you know what Zetro had in his hand.
Hey, Walt, have you heard of Exodus? Go to their YouTube channel and sign up for them and us. It's all the same.
And Zetro and I got a room, and everything was nondescript. We had a good dinner. And then the next morning we got up at, nice and early. I had a cup of coffee in my hand, and you know what Zetro had in his hand. He was rolling a joint, and he was in the passenger seat of the truck. And this is a big truck, a big, heavy truck with all the equipment. And there was only one little mistake. I was 6 inches off because there was a sign that said it was 12-foot clearance or something. And we were actually 13 feet or something. But anyway, so if you can imagine, we're rolling along at like 10 miles an hour, and the top of the truck hits the overhang to this Jesse James hometown, the Jesse James.
It was the Jesse James Hotel.
Best Western.
Yeah.
And yeah, in his hometown there, another infamous part of the story there. But anyway, the truck hits it, and there's a jolt, right? So the whole truck just stops and hits this overhang, and Zetro's rolling a joint, and his head's down. He hits the windshield, and it cracks into this big spider mark.
There's the picture right there of my head in the windshield.
And I'll never forget, because it didn't come down right away. There was a little delay there.
That was
and then
we
heard
this part.
We heard
that
this
was
creaking,
the best part.
And the whole overhang comes down on the front of the truck, not on the cab.
It was out of a movie.
It was a trip. Anyway, this thing comes down, and the other thing it crushed on the other side of this was a Z28, a brand new. And these cars were hot cars back then.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking 88,
An 88 Z28 or Trans.
So this whole thing comes down, and it's resting partly on the hood of the truck. And it's a big overhang. In fact, we're going to show some pictures. But anyway, everybody came out of the hotel.
And the lady comes out, and she's like, oh my God, look at my car. Mom, you know what, lady? I can see the car, but
she was in tears.
Look at the hotel. And she's all, I own the hotel too. So, and like Walt said, when we hit it, it went, and then it slowly went,
creak, creak, creak.
Bam! And we could see the whole inside of that, what was it, room 201?
201. But that wasn't, it didn't do that right away. But what happened was the police were called, a crowd gathered, and they had to bring a building inspector out there, and he said he deemed it unsafe. So they pulled, a bulldozer comes out. This is like a comic book, but a bulldozer comes out, and they have to knock the rest of the overhang.
Because it wasn't structurally safe. They didn't know if it was just going to fall down on its own.
and it did. And when that came down, then you could look into room 201 and see the furniture and the TV.
Walter, do you want a personal message from me?
Hey, fuck you.
That's great. You can get that and anything else. Go to cameo.com, download the app, and you can get a what?
A fuck you from Zetro.
There you go.
It was, I don't know, it was a trip. But what I did during that time is I took pictures, and there was a sign. And I took the sign, if you remember, and I hid it in the cab, underneath the seat, and I put it, put it away. And when the police come, they wanted me. They wanted me. They wanted me to be drunk. They wanted me to be high. They wanted me to have warrants. But I didn't have any of those things. I had a cup of coffee, totally straight. It was a mistake and a fabulous disaster. And they never
Luckily,
found the
because
sign.
I was rolling a joint at that time. And I mean, within seconds of that joint being rolled, I would have fucking fired it up right there in that truck in Kearney,
and this is
Kansas.
back when weed
this
was
is 1988.
a felony, probably, or
1987.
something.
No, 1987.
Yeah, 7.
That's right. So, I mean, back, I don't know, felony, maybe in Kansas, maybe, but.
Oh, come on, Midwest?
Oh, yeah. But I mean, that'll be that story and many more. From that tour alone, so
back then it was 150,000, but in today's world it would probably have been 800,000, maybe more.
That was $1 million fuck up. We took halfway the hotel. If you look any of the pictures that I'm pointing to right now and putting up there, today would probably be about $1 million right now. So another episode of Zet and Walt out on the road again. There'll be many more of those. Many more.
I hope a happier one. We need a funnier or a happier
the
one.
The best ones are the destruction. In Exodus, the funny ones are when we did destruction,
That's true.
That was like the best stuff. And so we'll be telling more stories like that. Leave us comments. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know about when you met us on the road or if you can remember some of this stuff. If you click a memory in our head, we'll talk about it, and always subscribe to my channel.
Or what do you want to hear? Like, what's it like to live on a tour bus? What's a bunk like? A lot of things that people don't know.
Just leave us comments on what would you like us to talk about. We'll talk about all those things. Everything's open here in Zetro's Toxic Vault. We'll see you guys next time.